Heartbreak and sadness tonight for a St. Louis family of a teen missing for 2 months. Hours ago, they learned the 18-year-old's body was found this week in the Mississippi River near Festus. Only on 5 on Your Side tonight, Robert Townsend talks to her grieving parents.
Let me ask you something before we even get started. What if your daughter walked out the front door one evening, said she was going to the store and never came back? No argument, no warning signs you could point to. No remate gudvie, just gone. And what if the last image anyone ever captured of her was a grainy surveillance camera shot of her walking down a street downtown? And after that frame, there was absolutely nothing. No phone activity, no sightings, no trace. Just silence for 2 whole months. That is exactly what happened to Wuaniata Gibson. And I need you to sit with that for a second before we go any further. Now, before we dive into this, if you are new here, welcome to Shadow Crime. This is the place where we talk about the cases that don't always get the national spotlight they deserve. If this kind of storytelling hits different for you, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and make sure you click that bell icon so you never miss when we drop a new case. Because trust me, the stories we cover here are the ones that will stay with you. Now let's get into it. Waniata Gibson was 18 years old. She lived in the Baden neighborhood of North St. Louis, Missouri, with her family. And when I say family, I mean people who genuinely loved this girl with everything they had. Her father, Keith Gibson Jr., called her his princess, his daddy's girl. Her mother, Tanika Patterson, had a whole nickname system with her daughter. She called Waniata Baby Bear, and Waniata called her mom Mama Bear. That right there tells you everything about the kind of bond they had. This was not a distant or broken household. This was a home full of love. Waniata was a student at Marquette High School in the Rockwood School District. She was the kind of young woman who loved going to church. She loved singing in the choir alongside her mother. She loved animals deeply, and I mean deeply. At some point she found a stray cat, named it Pluto, and literally carried it home on her shoulder. That detail alone tells you so much about who she was. She had a softness to her, a warmth that the people around her clearly felt every single day. By all accounts, she was a normal teenager navigating life. She had her faith, she had her family, she had her pets, and she had her future ahead of her. There was nothing about Waniata Gibson that should have led to what happened next. And yet, on the evening of December 22nd, 2025, everything changed. It was just after 5 in the afternoon. The family's Ring doorbell camera caught Waniata stepping briefly into the house. She told her family she was heading to the store. Nothing alarming about that. Nothing out of the ordinary. She walked out that door, and that was the last time anyone in her family ever saw her alive.
Heartbreak and sadness tonight for a St. Louis family of a teen missing for 2 months. Hours ago, they learned the 18-year-old's body was found this week in the Mississippi River near Festus. Only on 5 on Your Side tonight, Robert Townsend talks to her grieving parents.
You can see the shock and sadness on the faces of Waniata Gibson's parents.
I call her Baby Bear. She called me Mama Bear. So she was like my little cub.
She was daddy's girl. She was my princess. I call her my princess.
Her family says on the afternoon of December 22nd, the Ring doorbell camera captured Gibson on video, leaving their home in North St. Louis.
She came in the house. We saw her. Saw her for a split second. And she said she was going to the store.
They say Waniata walked to this metro bus station around the corner near Broadway and Riverview.
And she waited there for a while. I'm like, we could have called her. Had we known. You know? So that's what I'm upset about. I would have went after her and got her and brought her back.
Surveillance cameras snapped photos of the 18-year-old Gibson getting on a bus and later getting off near Carr and Broadway downtown. But when she never returned home, her worried family reported her missing.
We got a couple images of her walking down 2nd Street, and that was the last that we got.
2 months later, detectives called the family and told them barge workers found their loved one's body in the Mississippi River near Festus Monday.
When I got the call this morning, I expected her there.
She loved Jesus. She loved going to church.
And Gibson especially loved her family and her 2 dogs and 2 cats.
She came home and told me one time She had him on her shoulder. She loved him. She loved all these babies.
So at this point, Gibson's family still has lots of questions surrounding her death. They're hoping once an autopsy is completed, they'll finally get the answers to what they call a painful mystery.
Only God. That's it. I know that she's with him. And I know that I'll see her again.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Now, here's where things start to get unsettling. And I really need you to follow this closely because the details matter. After she left the house, surveillance cameras in the area began picking her up. She walked to a metro bus stop near North Broadway and Riverview. She waited. She boarded a bus. And cameras later caught her getting off near Carr and Broadway in downtown St. Louis. So at this point, she has traveled from her neighborhood all the way downtown, alone, on a December evening. And then the last confirmed image anyone has of Waniata Gibson is a camera catching her walking down 2nd Street in downtown St. Louis. After that frame, there is nothing. No more camera sightings. No phone activity that has been made public. No witnesses who came forward to say they saw her. She simply vanished into that cold December night, like she was never there. Now I want you to think about that for a moment. Downtown St. Louis is not a small, quiet area. There are businesses, cameras, people moving around. And yet somehow, after that one shot of her walking down 2nd Street, this 18-year-old girl disappears completely. How does that happen? How does a young woman walk into a populated area of a major city and leave absolutely no trace behind? That question alone should be keeping investigators up at night. Her family reported her missing on December 24th, Christmas Eve. Let that sink in. While most families were wrapping gifts preparing for the holidays, Keith Gibson and Tanika Patterson were filing a missing persons report for their daughter. Police classified Waniata as an endangered missing person, which means authorities recognized that her safety was at risk. But despite that classification, despite the surveillance footage, despite the fact that her last known location had been identified, the trail went completely cold. 2 months passed. 2 months of her family waking up every single morning not knowing where their daughter was. 2 months of her mother going to church and singing in the choir that Waniata loved, with an empty space beside her. 2 months of her father holding on to hope while quietly breaking apart on the inside. 2 months of her cats and dogs waiting at home not understanding why she never came back. I don't care who you are. That image right there is gutting. And the hardest part about those 2 months is that the public largely moved on. The case got some local coverage, but it never exploded nationally the way it should have. And that is something we need to talk about honestly here in this community, because the pattern of missing black women and girls receiving less media attention than others is not new, and it is not acceptable. Waniata deserved wall-to-wall coverage from day one. She deserved the same urgency and panic that would have surrounded any other missing teenager in this country. And she did not get that. Not even close.
Found your daughter dead. I said, oh my God. Immediately I started, tears began to stream down my face.
But first on Fox, an investigation is underway into a teen girl's death. Thanks for joining us for Fox 2 News at 10. I'm Max Dieknight. 2 months after a North St. Louis teen disappeared, her family is now preparing for her funeral. Tonight, her father is sharing the moment he learned that she'd been found dead. Fox 2's Taylor Harris has their story.
I spoke with her father just days after learning his daughter will not be returning home, and now he says grief is not the only thing his family is living with. Uncertainty is. And for nearly 2 months, the Gibson family searched for 18-year-old Wuaniata Gibson. Police say she was last seen December 22nd, leaving her home, telling her mother she'd be right back. She never returned. Investigators tracked her riding metro buses downtown, and then nothing until Monday. Barge workers discovered a body in the Mississippi River near Festus. 2 days later, police called her father.
And when I got the news, I just began to break down. But I began to call on the name of Jesus.
He said he had prayed for answers, just not these.
She just took off, and she was scared. She was scared in her heart, and she had a lot going through her mind, and what she was doing is isolating herself from the issue.
Her father believes something happened after she got off the bus that night, and now the family waits for the autopsy to explain how she ended up miles away in the river. But while investigators work, he remembers the daughter behind the headlines.
She was a very touching person, very, and her heart, and she was a woman of God too, true woman of God. Her life touched so many lives. I'm gonna miss her. That was my princess.
The family is now planning her homegoing celebration instead of a welcome home. And now her father has a message for whoever may know what happened.
Whoever done this, I pray that that God will forgive them, but also justice will be served.
Police say the investigation into Wuaniata Gibson's death remains active, and anyone with information is asked to contact St. Louis police. And her family says answers will not bring her back, but they said that they need them to move forward. Taylor Harris, Fox 2 News.
February 16th, 2026. Barge workers at a concrete company near River Cement Road, just south of Festus, Crystal City, spotted something in the Mississippi River early that morning. It was around 8:30 a.m. They contacted authorities immediately. The Missouri State Highway Patrol responded, and when they pulled that body from the water, something told them this was connected to a case somewhere upstream. Festus is roughly 30 miles south of downtown St. Louis, along the Mississippi River. 30 miles. Think about that distance and what it means. It means that wherever Waniata entered that river, her body traveled silently downstream for 2 months while her family was above ground searching and praying and waiting. On February 18th, 2026, the St. Louis County Medical Examiner officially confirmed what the family had been dreading. The body recovered from the Mississippi River was Wuaniata Gibson, 18 years old, gone. Her father, Keith, received a call from detectives and said he just began to break down, calling on the name of Jesus. Her mother, Tanika, the woman who called her baby bear, the woman who sang beside her in the church choir, said the only thing getting her through is God. She said, and I want you to hear this directly from a grieving mother, she said, how do we get through this? Only God, that's it. I know that she is with him, and I know that I will see her again. That right there is a level of faith and strength that most of us will never fully understand. And it breaks my heart that she even has to draw on it. Now here's where the case stands as of today, and this is the part that should frustrate every single one of you watching. The autopsy results have not been publicly released. No cause of death has been confirmed. No suspects have been named. No evidence of foul play has been officially announced, but neither has it been ruled out. The St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department has confirmed an active investigation is ongoing, but has said very little beyond that. The 2-month gap between when she was last seen walking down 2nd Street and when her body was found in the river remains almost entirely unexplained. And that brings me to the questions that I cannot stop thinking about, and honestly neither should you. What happened in those final moments after that last camera caught her on 2nd Street? Did someone approach her? Did someone offer her a ride, a place to stay, help of some kind? Was there someone in her life who knew more than they ever came forward to say? And why did it take 2 months for this case to reach the level of attention it deserved? Here is what I need you to sit with after watching this. Waniata Gibson was not a statistic. She was Baby Bear. She was Daddy's girl. She was the girl who carried a stray cat home on her shoulder because she could not leave it behind. She was 18 years old with a whole life ahead of her, and somebody out there knows something. If you know anything at all related to this case, contact the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. Do not stay silent. Do not decide it is not your place. Because if it were your daughter, your sister, your friend, you would want someone to speak up. And to you watching right now, if this case moved you, if it made you feel something, then do something with that feeling. Like this video. Share it, because the more eyes on Waniata's story, the better. Subscribe to Shadow Crime and hit that bell icon, because we are not going to let cases like this disappear quietly. We are going to keep talking until somebody answers for it. Waniata Gibson deserved better, and we are not done yet.